What's up, Random Phantom? How's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're about to get into the latest breakdown from new Rockstars. This time it's for Black Widow. Man, it was great to go back to the theater and have the theatrical experience for Black Widow. Whew. So, yeah. Be on the lookout for my movie review coming in the next few days. Definitely have a lot of great thoughts about it. I thought it was pretty good, but I'm going to let my thoughts ruminate a little bit more before I give an official movie review, so be on the lookout for that. So let's get into the Black Widow breakdown, Easter eggs, and details we missed video from new Rockstars, and then we'll have my thoughts about this afterwards.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Marvel Studios' Black Widow, which finally tells the story of the most secretive Avenger and the blood on her ledger. Really is the first MCU film to release after a 2-year gap. It's just welcome relief to appreciate all the interesting filmmaking details, the MCU Easter eggs, and other hidden gems that appear all over this film. Spoiler warning, and let's dive into the past, or past. And before we begin, be sure to head over to NewRockstarsMerch.com for our Black Widow-inspired latest obsession shirt.
Sounds like Sean Connery, Budapest. Name the dog. Name the dog Indiana. Budapest.
Loki polo shirt and the Loki Out of Time tee that I'm wearing.
The past.
NewRockstarsMerch.com. Here we go. We open in Ohio, 1995, where Natasha Romanoff, age 11, played by Ever Anderson, daughter of Mila Jovovich, spent her youth with the
okay. I did not know that. That's cool.
But here, Violet McGraw, Black Widow's longtime rival in the comics, Alexei Shostakov, aka the Red Guardian, David Harbour, a Soviet counterpart to Captain America, and Melina Vostokov, Rachel Weisz, aka the Iron Maiden from the comics. But from this dysfunctional family unit, we get this film's central thematic conflict: forgiving your family. Because the main events of Black Widow are set right after Captain America's Civil War in 2016, 2 years before the Avengers would reunite in Infinity War. But in this interim period, with her Avengers family and this kind of divorce, Natasha Romanoff must both forgive and seek forgiveness from her past family so that she can learn to heal the family that she chose. Similar to the premise of The Americans on FX, Russian spy families are actually a real-world thing. In 2010, the FBI arrested 10 Russian illegals, including 4 couples who had all been living undercover in America for years. And you'll notice the opening credits allude to this with a TV report from WHIH, that's Marvel's in-universe news service, about Natasha's family being outed, evoking those reports that we saw in 2010. But the year 1995 is an eventful one in MCU history, as S.H.I.E.L.D. was stretched thin, dealing with the Skrulls and the Kree and the return of Carol Danvers in the events of Captain Marvel. But also, elsewhere in the universe, Gamora was taken from her native people and turned into a deadly weapon by Thanos, parallel to the girl soldier future awaiting these two. Natasha has blue hair covering up her red roots, already foretelling a life of hair alteration and masking her red. The sisters exchange this whisper.
Very disturbing news out of Vernon Central High School.
What's going on? Turn your tax.
Which they echo to say goodbye at the end of the film. And the opening lines of this film are also bookended.
Flips upside down, and I bet you're gonna fall down first.
And later, when Natasha finds Yelena on the ground, Yelena says,
"We're both upside down."
After stealing a secret government disc, they have to flee. And
that
they
is
play Yelena's favorite song, Don McLean's American Pie, a song about the 1959 plane crash that killed early rock and roll stars Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. A song that many interpret as a kind of allegory for American pop culture throughout the 50s and 60s, with all these crazy specific references that Don McLean has cryptically never acknowledged what they actually mean. But generally, it is about American disillusionment of that era. But interestingly, Yelena just likes the song for its simple, catchy melody, not really realizing the darker truth of the lyrics, much like the way she sees her life in Ohio as just pure and genuine without really understanding the darkness of what's going on. Notice how the song plays over some departing images of Americana, including a football game, recalling the lyrics in the 4th verse of American Pie about a football game halftime marching band refusing to leave the field.
I was kind of noticing that.
It could have really been about the Beatles' rock takeover with Sgt. Pepper, and in the shot you can see the marching band on the far end of the field there. When they get to the plane, Alexei clears the way by showing some surprising super strength. Notice how the stereo flips with just a solid thud, no bounce, just a subtle animation effect showing how heavy this thing is. Now, they're pursued by S.H.I.E.L.D. SUVs, not those of the FBI.
It also kind of shows you
indicating
CGI
that
kind of
they're not
doesn't.
chased
Yeah.
because they're Russian spies, but because they interfered with a SHIELD
Just a little
operation,
detail.
which we learn more about when they arrive in Cuba and meet with General Dreykov.
And the North Institute. Ashes.
Yes, the North Institute is from a 2004 run of Black Widow comics. The Institute worked on behalf of the Gynecon Corporation. I know it's called the Gynecon Corporation, but they were killing off Widow agents after they purchased Russian biotech from the Red Room's successor. But in this film, it's a similar program, but run by SHIELD, which was secretly run by Hydra at the time, in conjunction with their Winter Soldier program to produce a cellular map of the inner brain for chemically induced mind control. But Dreykov is a familiar name in the MCU, first mentioned by Loki all the way back in the first Avengers film.
I got red in my ledger. I'd like to wipe it out.
Can you wipe out that much red? Dreykov's daughter.
And yes, we will meet Dreykov's daughter very soon. But these
That
opening titles are
that
scored by
detail was
Nirvana,
really cool.
Smells
Going
Like
back to
Teen
it's so
Spirit, but
cool.
covered by Think Up Anger, featuring Malia Che. Now, this song was written by Kurt Cobain as an anarchic anthem for disaffected Gen Xers. But now, through this female voice, it's used to convey these girls being converted into mindless assets for the interests of the powerful. Notice how Natasha breaks away to give Yelena something folded. This was the photo booth strip that she took from the car, which Yelena later uses in the movie to mark her message for Natasha. The montage has a close-up of Dreykov's ring, which later is the key that Natasha uses to unlock and download all the Red Room data. The montage shows footage of them staging home videos of Christmas and other holidays, as Natasha reveals later that all the photos in their albums were shot on a single day with different backdrops to make them look like a convincingly American family. We see a close-up of a red hair bow rotating to become the hourglass shape of the Black Widow logo, now on a human target, similar to the ones Natasha remembered shooting at in her Red Room flashbacks in Age of Ultron, but we're actually people. We see imagery of the North Institute file and pigs, a clue for how Melina will use the North Institute data to test mind control on pigs first, but then later on humans that are being used as metaphorical pigs for the slaughter. And then all these crazy photos of Dreykov, photoshopped in photos with various world leaders, including Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Boris Yeltsin, Condoleezza Rice, and Vladimir Putin. Yeah, so much for this guy staying in the shadows. And we catch up with Natasha Romanoff 21 years later, in 2016, right after Civil War, when she was on the run. William Hurt returns as Thaddeus Ross and says,
Natasha Romanoff was in violation of the Sokovia Accords. She assaulted the king of Wakanda. Make an example out of her.
Yes, referring to the superhero registration law that Captain America refused to sign, and Natasha, despite initially agreeing with Tony Stark, swung over to Team Cap by attacking Black Panther to allow Cap and Bucky to escape. And Ross tells her,
We got Barton, we got Wilson, and the other guy, the incredible shrinking convict.
referring to the members of Team Cap, who at this point were still imprisoned on the raft, including Hawkeye and Falcon, and the incredible shrinking convict is Ant-Man Scott Lang, and I love how he uses the Hulk's incredible moniker for that. Natasha brings up Ross's triple bypass surgery that he used to explain his absence at the start of Civil War, but she slips on by actually being on a ferry to Norway. They're all getting you, Black Widow. In Morocco, adult Yelena Belova leads a team targeting an older widow, Roxana, who sprays Yelena with the antidote to the widow's chemical subjugation. I like how during their knife fight, Yelena drops the knife from one hand to the other. I love that move. Natasha actually later uses it while fighting Taskmaster, just showing some of their parallel training there. We first meet Taskmaster as they watch footage from the Civil War airport battle of Hawkeye fighting Black Panther. That was actually updated from the trailer version of the shot that showed Taskmaster watching footage of Natasha and Iron Man 2. So in the comics, Taskmaster is Tony Masters, a mercenary and assassin with photographic reflexes that mirror the combat style of any combatant. But this film changes the character to, as we learn in the third act of the film, Antonia, Dreykov's daughter, with all of her mirrored fighting not being an innate physical skill, but instead based on some fighting analysis algorithm in her heads-up display in her helmet and the chip that's in the back of her head. So she's a bit more Terminator-y now. But I'll say this is similar to the upgrade in Iron Man's Mark 46 armor that he used to also predict Cap's fighting combat style in Civil War.
That's true.
Mason, Otife Benley.
Passports, a couple of local driver's licenses.
Fanny Longbottom.
Yeah, later on in the post-credit scene, Yelena names her dog Fanny. And then this exchange.
Some mail and personals from the Budapest Steakhouse.
Budapest?
Yeah, Budapest.
No, it's Budapest.
Budapest. Budapest.
Yes, Natasha is using the Hungarian pronunciation, calling back her exchange with Hawkeye in Avengers.
It's like Budapest all over again.
You and I remember Budapest very differently.
Natasha looks at some blonde hair dye.
I didn't even notice that she said it that way in that
film to set up her look in Avengers Infinity War. And she watches the 007 Roger Moore film Moonraker with some surprisingly similar plot points as Black Widow, including a skydive parachute sequence that people definitely should not have survived, and a hidden base floating in secret above Earth. But Taskmaster attacks Natasha using a shield with a discus hurl that she likely got from watching footage of Captain America. And I love this detail. When Natasha crawls out of her vehicle looking for Taskmaster, notice how the vehicle suddenly stops teetering, even though without that, nothing would be weighing down that side of the vehicle, telling us that it was Taskmaster who had landed on top of it. Natasha tries to take down Taskmaster with her classic scissors maneuver, but Taskmaster uses it right back on her. Now within Taskmaster's heads-up display, on the right are the words evaluating defensive measures, with on the left a predict percentage and a threat percentage, and then various pressure points on her body with percentages maybe to show how effective a blow to that region would be or how likely Natasha is to use it. And again, yes, this is very similar to Stark's Mark 46 tech, so much so that I'm wondering if a version or an early prototype of it could have been stolen from Stark's research. They do simultaneous flip jumps to their feet, something that Natasha remembers as a move she later uses in combination with the downward punch to release the antidote on her. And then in the second scan, Taskmaster's display shows 2 numbers per arm, the top of which may correspond to the likelihood she'll strike with that side, the bottom maybe meaning how much of a threat that strike would be. And then the directive has changed to redirect to primary target, meaning that all of this is being viewed remotely by Dreykov, giving her commands moment to moment. Natasha lassos Taskmaster to the overhead beam, but Taskmaster slashes it and swings into this acrobatic flip, maybe a move that she got from watching videos of Spider-Man that we know are on YouTube at this point, and knocks Natasha off the ledge, but with her, the vials. So Natasha takes these to Budapest, where she spars with Yelena, and then after the fight she asks,
What bullet does that?
Bullets, arrows.
Another reminder of Natasha and Hawkeye's past in Budapest, and perhaps this was some scuffle after their attempt to kill Dreykov, which Natasha reveals was the final step in her defection to S.H.I.E.L.D. Yelena didn't want Natasha to bring the vials back here. She wanted her to give them to her scientist friends of the Avengers like Tony Stark, but Natasha says they aren't talking. Just one example of how the Civil War really just left the world a less safe place. They're chased by other widows. One tragically breaks her leg, so Dreykov decides to terminate her remotely from his tablet. Yikes. Taskmaster chases them in a freaking tank, plowing through the cars on the street as they are fleeing on a motorcycle. And with Taskmaster's Terminator essence, it's just hard not to see this as an homage to the chase sequence in T2 Judgment Day. Natasha and Yelena hide from Taskmaster in a ceiling vent.
Martin and I spent 2 days hiding out up here.
The doodles include a Hawkeye arrow, some games of tic-tac-toe, and a game of Hangman. Hard to make out what the word was supposed to be, but based on the letters and the wrong letters already chosen, I'm gonna guess butterfly. A fun fact shows that Budapest mission
I was like saying butter.
Tracking Dreykov's daughter. That sound effect of Antonia stepping out of the car is a modulated version of the sound Taskmaster made earlier when she hopped out of the car to confront Natasha on the bridge. Just a little clue telling us that they are the same person. Yelena explains that the reason Dreykov was able to stay off of Natasha's radar, or never tried to kill her, was to stay hidden from the big Avengers.
Wait, what are the big ones?
Well, I doubt that God from space has to take an ibuprofen after a fight.
Of course, referencing Thor, though Thor was off-world during Civil War. Yelena mocks Natasha's landing pose with the hair flip back.
It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
That was such a great scene.
Jokes of the movie, but also an example of how, to Yelena, Natasha's family of the Avengers seems like a joke. A way of hitting back at her for Natasha saying Yelena thinking her Ohio family was so great, that being a joke. Later, they talk about their parents.
Did you ever look for your parents? The real ones?
My mom abandoned me in the street like garbage.
In Endgame, Natasha would be shaken to hear Red Skull call her daughter of Ivan, meaning she has some father out there named Ivan. But back in Infinity War, he also called Gamora daughter of Thanos when he was not her biological father, just a very hands-on paternal figure. So really, this leaves this Ivan guy a MCU mystery. Yelena says she invented histories for them all.
My sister moved out west.
Is that right?
You're a science teacher. Your husband, he renovates houses?
I like to think of this hypothetical life as Natasha marrying Bruce Banner, who does, in a way, renovate houses. Yelena mentions wanting a dog, which she does get in the post-credit scene. On the drive, Yelena says, "See my vest."
It has a lot of pockets. But I use them all the time. I've never had control over my own life before, and now I do.
So when she gives this vest to Natasha, and Nat shows up wearing this same vest in Infinity War, it's not just about the pockets, folks. It is a symbol of she and her sister having more control over
That was
their
so
lives.
cool.
And we catch up with Alexei.
Such
in
cool
prison.
detail.
There he is, Captain America. grab hold of his shield. A test of strength.
Yeah, the other prisoner is right to point out, if this was 1983 or 84, Steve Rogers was still frozen in ice, and assuming Alexei had been in prison for longer than 5 years, it's impossible for the two to have ever met, or Cap to have any idea who he is. And Alexei goes on with his story.
Anyway, this shield, that he carries with him like a precious baby blanket, I use it to my advantage. I take it, I push him out the window.
But if you think about it, Alexei does get a kind of victory moment this way in the final sequence, using the shield to his advantage to smash a soldier through the window of the jet. His prison tattoos are awesome, including a Russian Imperial Eagle on his chest and Karl and marks across his knuckles. Natasha and Yelena sent him a Red Guardian action figure. Yeah, it sounds like David Harbour actually recorded the Russian catchphrase for the toy, and I love that Natasha and Yelena assumed he would be wistful enough to pull that string so that he would find the earpiece in the head. On their tablet, this prison is called Seventh Circle Prison, which is the name of a run of the Punisher Daredevil comics, but also the Circle in Hell and Dante's Inferno for souls that have committed acts of violence. Alexei's strong enough to break glass and kick down the doors, but not to climb the second level, perhaps justifying why he was unable to escape in the past. Natasha does her pose landing. Yelena blows the tower, which triggers an avalanche, and Alexei springboards off a shield to make it up finally, similar to that moment in the Avengers when Natasha springboarded from Cap's shield to hop up to some Chitauri. And then after lifting him out, Yelena hits Alexei for abandoning them, and he asks if it's her time of the month, to which they respond,
I don't have a uterus. Or ovaries. Yeah, that's what happens when the Red Room gives you an involuntary hysterectomy.
yes, a much more vivid description of what Natasha described.
Yeah, throw back to that scene.
They have a graduation ceremony. They sterilize you. It's efficient. One less thing to worry about.
So they find Melina on her pig farm, where she's using mind control tech to guide these pigs through a maze like lab rats. I just feel so bad for these pigs, especially that Alexei one, the one she nearly suffocates. Of course, not to mention the human test subjects, whom she never really seems to feel that bad about torturing.
We stole the key to unlocking.
That scene bothered me a little bit. I don't know why.
Which leads to an argument over whether they were true family at any point.
Our family was never real, so there's nothing to hold on to.
Please don't say that. It was real. It was real to me. You are my mother. You were my real mother.
But afterwards, Melina and Natasha end up coming together over Natasha learning that her biological mother continued to look for her and then was killed off by Dreykov. I just feel like Melina's switch comes a bit too quickly, as if she might have had another agenda here. Like, she could have revealed this to Natasha in order to gain her trust, but really to further incentivize Natasha to kill Dreykov in order to remove him from the Widow program and allow Melina to step in and take over the operation. Like, I just have a lot of questions about her plan. The way she has only one earpiece set, which is kind of a weird detail, almost like Melina wanted all the communication of this plan to go through her, and this plan was to offer to help land the Red Room right into Ross's lap, even though that could end up with her behind bars. And she does this by sneaking into the engine control room of a base that she designed and therefore would know that Dreykov would be watching her, so that she would have to, oopsie-daisy, dos vidanya, the engine, to crash the whole thing that would conveniently destroy all evidence of her role in this chemically subjugating women program. I am just saying,
Interesting.
things lucked out pretty great for the Iron Maiden. Let's keep an eye on that one. But back while they're talking, Elena snaps at Alexei.
The only thing you care about are your stupid glory days is the Crimson Dynamo, and no one wants to hear about it.
It's the Red Guardian.
Crimson Dynamo was another Russian Marvel villain for whom in Iron Man 2 they took the name Anton Vanko, Ivan Vanko's father, and Ivan's fake ID bore the name Boris Turgenev, who is the second Crimson Dynamo in the comics. Dreykov's forces arrive and Yelena finds Natasha, or who she thinks is Natasha, but in that closet the masks are no longer hanging and the red and brunette wigs are taken away, thus the clue that Natasha and Melina must have swapped. And they go to the Red Room, a floating base somehow hidden in the
Details is amazing. It's amazing.
Kind of a weird thing to say, but remember, Natasha is a big fan of 007, a genre where the villains tend to declare their plans aloud, and so by doing this, Natasha gives Alexei details that he otherwise might not have had, which might be why Taskmaster immediately re-sedates him. So Natasha, disguised as Melina, meets with Dreykov, who gets right up in her face right away.
It's a pain in my ass.
Yeah, notice he inhales through his nose briefly, and then shortly after he cuts her off and forces her to sit while gripping her head. Yeah, he may have caught from this moment, or even from her scent, that this is not the real Melina, and then he just plays along. And then Dreykov boxes her in, saying Natasha is a traitor. The light from outside dims on his face, and then the jig is up.
When you look into the eyes of a child you have raised, no mask in the world can hide that.
Yeah, spy shit. Natasha previously used a similar mask in Captain America the Winter Soldier, and more recently Sharon Carter used one of these in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In Dreykov's office hangs a portrait of Rasputin. This was the mystic healer and advisor to the final Russian royal family of Tsar Nicholas II, reflecting how Dreykov might see himself as the man with the magic touch running the empire from the shadows, but really an empire that is about to topple due to a violent revolution. When Dreykov tells Antonia to reveal herself, she does so by hitting a specific button on her Buzz Lightyear panel, something Natasha notices and then later uses in the final blows of the fight on the ground to pop open her helmet so that she can spray her. Dreykov reveals he has been making widow agents out of girls all over the world. It's kind of impossible to count all of them on the screen, but by going by the little red squares, since we know each of them is a face, it looks like about 48 rows down and at least 3 times that wide, so around 7,000 widows or more, which is an insanely huge army of assassins. But notice how this map shows no widows illuminated in the Wakanda region. Now, this is still right after Civil War. Wakanda has not yet been a major world power. People just think it's a small, poor farming country. But really, Dreykov's talk about toppling world empires really would not have upset the global status quo that much if Wakanda remained standing. And once Dreykov shows his cards by saying he runs it all from that control pad, Natasha responds,
Thank you for your cooperation.
a callback to Avengers when she tricked Loki into revealing his plan.
Thank you for your cooperation.
So Natasha severs her olfactory nerve so that she can attack Dreykov. And you can see the moment she snatches his ring when she places her hand on his on the control pad, goes right over the ring, and as he falls back, no ring. Dreykov's glasses fall off as she hits him, but when the widows save him, he puts them back on, signaling how he's back in control. But setting up, when he dies, his glasses fly off after Yelena blows his getaway jet's engine. Meanwhile, Taskmaster's fighting Alexei, showing off some vibranium claws like Black Panther, and kickflips the shield, just like Cap's big move. Also, notice Taskmaster shows that she's been watching footage of the Winter Soldier as well, because she does Bucky's signature knife flip. Natasha fights the other widows as the red light from Dreykov's world map beams the faces of the other girls onto their own faces, just showing how all these women are connected, fighting for the fates of all the women around the globe. Yelena hits them all with an antidote grenade, and as Natasha downloads the data about the other widows, their faces flicker past, creating this kind of Michael Jackson black or white music video effect where they all merge into one. Just another display of how all their forced servitude connects them in a way. When Natasha frees Taskmaster from the cell, Taskmaster's heads-up display in the helmet flickers, a little sign to Natasha that the prediction algorithm is glitching and she might have a chance to break through to her. But the base explodes and crashes, leading to this insane skydive battle. And to stop her sister from falling first, echoing the first scene, Natasha dives after her with a parachute and then miraculously makes it to the ground safely enough. Natasha gets a scissor kick that Antonia is unable to reciprocate, so Natasha can open her helmet and punch the vial. In the aftermath of all this, the family makes their peace.
But it can work out with the 4 of us. You know, maybe some hope for the Avengers.
Yes, this movie's way of linking the forgiving family theme with Natasha's coming conflicts alongside the Avengers, which Natasha echoes again in the final scene.
It's funny, my whole life I didn't think I had any family. Turns out I got 2. So, it was a bit of a mess right now. I'm gonna go break a few of them out of prison. See if I can't help patch things up.
With her short blonde hair and Yelena's vest, she is ready for when we would chronologically see her next in Infinity War. Now, timeline-wise, this would set all the 2016 events of Black Widow just in the few days during the epilogue of Civil War, linking back up with Cap as he broke the others out of the raft at the very end of that film. And then still leaving it a big mystery what they were all doing for 2 years on the run after this. And as she takes off in the Quinjet, the music is Alan Silvestri's Avengers theme.
That'd make a great movie. Yeah.
Leaving us with the shot of the fireflies in the trees, just like in the opening scene, but now visually linking with the glows on the world map, each glow representing one of the forgotten lives that these sisters have now put on a path to liberation. inspiration. Now, I broke down the post-credit scene in a whole other video. Go check that out. But that is everything I noticed in Black Widow. More videos will be coming out on this channel about this movie soon. So be sure to subscribe to New Rockstars. Follow me at EA Boss. Follow New Rockstars. Thanks for watching those Vidania douchebags.
And you can see my reaction to that in the annotation above or in the description below. What a great breakdown. Like, these, like, always, like, surprise me no matter how many times. So, holy cow. Anyways, guys, yeah, that movie is just so good. Like, absolutely so good. The amount of detail, oh my gosh, like, like, yeah, Yelena, oh, such a great character. I absolutely love Florence Pugh. So good. Like, she was hilarious. Like, I love that little callback with the vest from Infinity War that Black Widow wears for here. Like, that detail is so cool. All right. Anyways, guys, yeah, that was my reaction to the Black Widow breakdown, Easter eggs, and details we missed. Just want to let you guys know, if you are new here, you can go ahead and check out my channel for other reactions to videos like these. Trailer reactions, top 10s, and a bunch of other film-related content. If you are new to subscribing, you can go ahead and click the bell to get notified of future videos. And if you are a returning subscriber, I seriously appreciate you. I would ask that you guys give this a like because it helps with the algorithm. Give this a comment of like, what was your favorite Easter egg or detail that you missed in the comments down below, because commenting also helps with the algorithm. Give this a share if this was worth a share. I just want to let you guys know I have a Patreon if you guys want to support me over there. I give early access to videos and a once a month request to where you get a video made by me for you, and a bunch of other stuff. I have a Twitter where I give updates to the videos and movie news and a bunch of other stuff. I have a Discord if you'd like to join there to interact with me and a bunch of other people. So I just want to say one last time, I appreciate you guys. Stay random.